Together we remember.
Together we remember.
We remember.
Together remember.
Together we remember movement I decided to do. Anne Frank.
Anne Frank.
Anne Frank.
Anne Frank.
Anne Frank, who died in a concentration camp at age 15, and she also wrote a diary of her experiences there.
In it she wrote, "I still believe, in spite of everything, that people really are good at heart." As a 5th grader, I remembered, wow, I didn't think this world was that cruel, and this girl was so innocent. Just because for what she wasn't accepted to the world, and she had to die for it.
Together we remember Leon Mohamed, who lost both his parents at 4 years old in the Holocaust at Auschwitz.
Together we remember Kimberly Tessie, who was a survivor of the Rwandan genocide in 1994.
Together we remembered Principal Dawn Hochsprung. We remember her for trying to save others at Sandy Hook before more damage could be done. She put herself before others and tried to subdue the crazed shooter.
Together we remember Illumina Ngana Maria, a survivor of the Rwandan genocide, during which she lost her husband and later left for Great Britain with her only son.
Today we remember Hannah Brady. She was a Czechoslovakian Jew, and she was murdered in the gas chambers of Auschwitz at the age of 13.
We remember the victims, resistors, rescuers, and survivors, and we should never forget the Holocaust.
Today, together we remember Annelies Nussbaum, who survived a Jewish ghetto and 3 concentration camps. And there's a quote I wrote saying, "We, the future, still preach the past, because till this day, we remember the 6 million innocent victims that lost their lives during the Holocaust, and we won't forget them."
Together we remember so we can change the future.
Today we're going to be talking about signs of genocide. There are 10 stages of genocide that are listed. I'm going to be talking about 5 today that I find to be the most important among the 10. The first one is going to be classification. The second one that I think is highly important is dehumanization. Symbolization is also very important. Now, the last one is going to be organization.
The other 10 include polarization, preparation, persecution, extermination, and denial.
I believe that today these signs should be more heavily investigated on to prevent so much human death from happening in future conflicts.
Plumes of ash cloud blue skies until there is only night, falling upon ground sodden with crimson rain, bathing towns and cities in thunder and the silence of 11 million stolen lives. Ash becomes snow drifting past each forgotten home, each abandoned livelihood, each empty abode laden with bitter memories of the spirits who resided within them and the skeletal ghost who they become. Precious metals or boiled bones filling porous teeth and occupying some unexpected boy's rifle, shot without regard, taken without regret. We remember for those we lost so they can live on through us and within us.
Together we remember. I remember because as someone of Jewish descent and heritage, it's important to my family and I to remember where we came from and who died for us. I remember all the lives that were lost, innocent people that were killed simply for prejudices. I remember usually by celebrating Jewish holidays with my family and us reminiscing on the people from the past.
# we remember Valentine Irabagiza, who was a survivor of a massacre that occurred during the Rwandan genocide.
Together we remember Paul Russo Sabagini, who not only survived the Rwandan genocide, but protected and hid 1,268 Hutu and Tutsi refugees.
Together, we remember Victoria Lee Soto, a first grade teacher who risked her life to save her students during the Sandy Hook school shooting.
Together we remember Victoria Soto. She was one of the victims at the Sandy Hook elementary school shooting. Soto was a teacher there, and during the shooting she hid her students in a closet and stood in front of it to protect them from the shooter. Together we remember Victoria Soto, a victim of the Sandy Hook shooting. She put herself between the shooter and the students in order to protect them. She hid them in closets and in the cabinets of her classroom.
On November 15, there was a shooting in the Pleasantville football game. Micah Tennant, also known as Do, he was a 10-year-old boy who was shot and killed when a man fired into a crowd at the Pleasantville Camden football game.
So a lot of people tend to ask, what is the importance of studying the Holocaust if it's something that happened so long ago? They fail to realize that this sort of thing does still occur today. There are still genocides going on right now in the 21st century, and studying the Holocaust is important in order to prevent mistakes made in the past from happening again, and it's also important to honor those who died during the Holocaust, who lost their lives due to hatred. It's also important in order to honor those who are able to tell their story and survive through such atrocities. So this is why I made this drawing. I'm probably going to edit in a better picture of it. But yeah.
Today we remember Naeem Rashid as one of the Christchurch victims for his courageous actions.
Together we remember Marion Pritchard. She joined the Dutch underground at the age of 22 after witnessing Germans throwing young Jewish children on a truck for deportation.
Together we remember Samuel Willingberg. He was a Holocaust survivor that escaped Treblinka, and now he creates sculptures that represent his memories at the camps, and he shares it with the world.
So the question is, why do we remember? We remember to make sure that it never happens again. Once the image of innocent humans being treated like animals goes away, something like this could happen again. In a famous cliche, if you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it. Nobody wants to have what happened to the Jews during the Holocaust happen to anyone else.
Together we remember the Rwandan genocide. This genocide was the Hutus versus the Tutsis, and it was a 100-day span of brutal killing, and over 800,000 people were slaughtered during that time. And the genocide all began with the death of the Rwandan president. And this genocide is most known for its brutal ways of killing, and I personally will remember this genocide because of the movie called Hotel Rwanda, which made people open their eyes and see the reality of how harsh and how brutal this genocide really was. And then on the bottom here I have a picture of Rwanda.
So for this video, I decided to make a little poster for why we remember. We remember to educate people on what happened, to love those who were lost in the genocides and those who survived, and to hopefully be able to forgive those who did wrong.
Together we remember. I remember so their stories and sacrifices aren't forgotten. I remember Eva Kor and her twin sister Miriam, who were put through inhuman experiments by Joseph Mengele. I remember the Holocaust and the 6 million innocent Jewish people that were indiscriminately murdered by the Nazis. I remember Eva Kor and the victims of the Holocaust by making sure that their stories never fade away and that they are passed on to the next generation.
Hi, I'm Riley Daly, and I'm going to be talking about genocide awareness, and it's April, and during this month we recognize all of the victims that have been unfortunately a part of many different genocides around the world, and also people who have family members who are victims of genocide.
Together we remember Denise Uwimana, a survivor of the Rwanda genocide.
Together we remember Denise Uwimana, a survivor of the Rwandan genocide who lost all of her family members and managed to survive caring for a newborn baby. Together we remember so the names of victims and survivors are never forgotten and to keep their stories and spirits alive.
Together we remember Denise Uwimana, a survivor of the Rwandan genocide. She showed extreme bravery during life-threatening times. She managed to hide from the killers underneath a bed covered in her family's blood and give birth to her second baby.
We remember Elie Wiesel's time in Buchenwald and Auschwitz through his books.
Together, we remember Elie Wiesel, a Holocaust survivor, human rights activist, and Nobel Peace Prize winner for his books on his experiences as a prisoner.
Hi, my name's Taina, and together with Marina Spiegel. She died when she was 18 years old, and her diaries have just surfaced. It details a new perspective of a young Jewish woman living in Poland during the Holocaust, and also details her emotions from falling in love to hopes and dreams, how she felt about being targeted, going into hiding, and until her death. And the poem I wrote for this movement is, those who cannot speak, we will for them. For the future generations that come to seek, we will be the voices of those who are justly condemned. For the survivors and the victims, their stories behold, truth and awareness of all death and the ruthlessness they saw.
I remember the Holocaust because it was a big part of history and that we should learn from our past mistakes. I will also remember Carl Brandt for the terrible euthanasia experiments he did on people during the time. And lastly, I remember Adolf Hitler was a failed artist before he became a dictator.
Together remember Johann von Holst. He was a Dutch teacher known for saving 600 Jewish children during the Holocaust.
Together we remember Scott Bagel, a teacher in the Parkland shooting who showed the utmost courage in the darkest times. Together we remember the bravery it took to hold the classroom door open that day.
Together we remember the Darfur genocide. We remember Noi, who was a 7 of 7, that she was attacked and killed outside of her village on August 21st, 2017. And below here is a poem I have wrote for her. It says, "Memories are there to remind you of things that have gone before you. You will always be in my heart because in there you are still alive. God has you in his keeping, but I have you in my heart, my sweet girl."
I think that remembering the Holocaust is a great way to prevent atrocities from happening again. So for my video, I decided to draw a picture, and here it is. So I drew a picture, and this is a young Jewish boy who's in a concentration camp, and you can see that he's really small and skinny. He doesn't have eyes, kind of like makes it look sad. And then here's a US soldier looking at him, and this is the day that they freed from the concentration camps.
Hashtag we remember. I remember Hitler and how he was saved as a young child from drowning in the ocean, and then he would grow to become a deadly dictator. I remember the Holocaust because it reminds us of the wrongs we do in life and how we have to fix them moving forward. And how I remember all this is by studying history, and then I joined the military to stop these corrupt people.
Together we remember by listening to their stories.
Together we remember the 1.5 million Armenians who perished during the Armenian genocide, so that their stories and sacrifice may never be forgotten to the sands of time.
Together we remember the millions of victims and survivors who suffered against genocide and ethnic cleansing.
Together we remember Sarah Pol Lim, who is a survivor of the Cambodian genocide.
Together we remember the non-Jewish victims of the Holocaust.